Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Couples Academy show. My name is Hassani. Good to have you here with us this morning. We're excited today because we're going deeper into conversations that you tune in to talk about, and that's all things concerning infidelity. Once again, as you know, I am an infidelity recovery specialist. 95% of the couples we work with are couples in crisis, those on the verge of divorce, those impacted by an affair who are trying to figure out how to navigate through this. And so today we're talking about giving permission to cheat. Yes, I know it's a controversial title, but it's something that actually happens, giving permission to cheat. But before we get started, we want to make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Let the people know that we are live today so that we can have a great conversation. Feel free to post your questions as we're engaging together so that we can meet you where you're at. All right, so last night, Sunday evenings, Danielle and I, we typically come together and watch a little bit of TV, right? So we were doing some Netflix and chill, and I'm like, what movie could I watch? So here's my hack, guys. Here's my secret hack. You know, a movie, generally speaking, is going to be good by who they cast, okay? Who they cast. And so as I'm flicking through, never heard of this movie before, but I said, you know what? Based upon who's in it, let's give this thing a try. So this movie, Las Vegas, comes up. And now, of course, you got Michael Douglas, Robert De Niro, Morgan Freeman, Kevin Kline. It's an all-star cast, right? And so it's about a gentleman who's about to get married. So they go to Vegas for one last time. And so Kevin Kline, the one on the far end, I'll show that to you again. He's married. And so his wife knows that he's going to celebrate his best friend's wedding to be, and that this is their last hurrah. So the wife hands the husband a box, right? And so inside the box, there's a condom. And she tells her husband, she says, listen, I know you're not happy. We haven't been connected in a long time. I know you have a yearning and a craving that we're not meeting. So listen, I don't need to know anything. Whatever you choose to do, you do. I'm giving you permission. Here's your condom. Enjoy, right? He's shocked. He can't believe it. But because he's in a destitute state, he's excited. So his entire journey while they were in Vegas, he was making broadcasts and announcements to everybody he met. Hi, my name is such and such, and my wife told me I can have sex while I'm away. Here's my condom. And so it was a comical movie. But here's the reality. As we were watching this, we were like, this actually happens. You know, there are people who have all types of rules around infidelity, and they're very specific. You know, people create their own sense of morality, which justifies their belief system. And so we can go into the depths where some people have rules that say, listen, you can't cheat inside the state. Now, if you travel for work and if you cross state lines, what you do is what you do. It's not cheating, right? That's just one of many different types of arrangements that people have. But what we find is that even when these arrangements are established and permission is given, it oftentimes is a slippery slope towards disaster because it has all types of consequences that people do not anticipate. Now, there's another type of permission, if you will, and that is when people open up their marriages. And we've done several shows on this, how open marriages is really inviting Satan into your marriage because it will ultimately destroy the foundation of your relationship. And there are all types of rules that they establish about what's appropriate, what's not. And somehow it seems like no matter what rules we set, no matter how liberal we are, there's something within us that has a desire to break the rules. So even when permission is given, even when license to do certain things are given, any type of rule that's established, there's this desire to break it. Right? Because I don't want to be confined to your rules. And so it winds up going from bad to worse, and they find themselves in crisis, and then they ultimately reach out to us for help. But listen, the type of permission we're talking about today is not when one spouse grants another spouse permission, but it is when a spouse gives him or herself permission to do what they choose to do. And so they've shifted away from commitment to permission. Okay. And so we want to talk about the three types of commitment and how two of those three commitments are compromised. are compromised, and it ultimately leads to a betrayal. All right. So the first type of commitment is what we're going to call true commitment. True commitment is exclusive, okay? It's what we call red light commitment. Now, I want you to think about a red light, a traffic light, red, yellow, and green. Now, when you get to a red light, you're supposed to stop. Okay, if you proceed beyond that light, you're entering into what? A danger zone. And there's the potential for all types of damage and, unfortunately, death. And we've seen this happen time and time again. But red light commitment is a commitment that you make till death, till one of us dies. Either I'm going to lose you or you're going to lose me. But when that happens, the covenant is now over and you or I are now free to engage and to connect with other people. But until that time, we are committed till death. And so red light commitment is really, it's an exclusive physical and emotional relationship that you have with one person. It is closed. There's a wall of protection that's surrounding that particular marriage. It means that your level of commitment is so strong that you will not entertain any alternative other. Now, red light commitment says, in this life, I will find people attractive. There will be attractive alternates, but regardless of what my eyes may see, regardless of what my heart may feel or my thoughts may think, I am committed to you. And I will I will forsake. We don't want any sacrifices. I will forsake all others because I'm in an exclusive relationship with you. And so this is the unwritten rule, right? So when we say I do, the assumption is this is what we've signed up for. But unfortunately, many people have different philosophies, different mentalities as it relates to commitment. And so assumptions are being made from day one when we say I do, this red light commitment. And oftentimes, as long as we are in this honeymoon stage, red light commitment is alive and well. But what happens over a period of time as the novelty wears off, when we slip out of the romantic phase, the honeymoon phase is over. Maybe beauty fades. The years of our youth are now beyond us, right? There's no more novelty. It is worn off. People's quirks now become annoyances. We now begin to enter into conflict. We're no longer in the state that we were once in. When we now transition from being soulmates to roommates to cellmates, we now begin to justify, well, this thing called commitment, I'm just not sure. And so we shift from red light commitment to what we call yellow light commitment. Now, yellow light commitment is what we will call a false commitment that is conditional. It's conditional. It's based upon circumstances. It's based upon how I feel. It's based upon where I'm at in my mind and in my heart. It's based upon how I feel about you. It's based upon where we are in this thing called love. We haven't felt love in quite some time. So now I begin to justify why it's okay. Because you don't give me the attention I need, I'm going to get it from somewhere else. Because you're not open physically to me the way I think you should be, I'm going to give it to somebody else. And so I'm putting expectations on you and demands on you and this relationship that are not honored, that are not discussed, that are not worked through. And so as a result, I'm going to figure things out my own way. So conditional commitment looks like this. When you get to a yellow light, you can either slow down or you can speed up. It depends upon how fast you're going. It depends upon how close you are to the light. You begin to rationalize and calculate what the best move is. So there is no absolute when it comes to yellow light commitment. It is a decision that is determined by the person who's in the driver's seat, right? Does that make sense? Now, what happens is there's the potential for harm. There's the potential for damage when you're driving. But in a relationship perspective, it is absolutely no longer potential, but it is guaranteed harm and guaranteed disastrous to the health of a relationship. And so, listen, here's the thing about yellow light commitment. It's a form of commitment. It's a commitment to stay, but it is not necessarily a commitment not to stray. So I'll stay with you, but I may also stray from you, but just for a period of time. And I justify and rationalize it because I'm not getting what I think I need, or I'm longing for something else, or there may be an incalculable number of reasons why I choose to do what I do. But in this case, it's not you giving me permission, it's me giving myself permission to be happy, to be free, to be fulfilled, to be connected, to feel excited, to just have pleasure, to do whatever I choose to do. But I will never leave you. That's my commitment to you. So shouldn't you be happy with that? Isn't that good enough? See the rationale? And so this can lead to a lifetime of pain, particularly if a couple doesn't go through a restoration period. And so, guys, we're talking about this whole idea of giving permission to cheat. I hope this is helping. We're going to get more into this conversation, but we're going to take a quick commercial break. And on the other side of it, we're going to get into the third type of commitment that absolutely is devastating. But feel free to post your questions. Let us know what part of the country or the world that you're tuning in from. We'll be right back. Stay right there.
Welcome to the Couples Academy app. The Couples Academy app is your go-to hub for how to do marriage right. Get started with our app today by perusing our amazing features that conveniently allow you to connect. This app is packed with powerful content and resources to help you grow and stay connected. With this app, you can watch our messages, find marriage resources, watch, listen, and read the real-life stories of restored couples, sign up for events, read articles and blog posts, stay up to date with push notifications, share your favorite messages via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or email, and download messages for offline listening. For more information about the Couples Academy app, go to couplesacademy.org.
All right, folks, we're back. You're watching the Couples Academy show. We're talking about giving permission to cheat. Just a couple shout outs real quick. We can't go through the whole list. Just a few at the top. Vishon E. from Chicago, True Wise TV from Dallas, Natural Beauty from Louisiana, Desme from South Georgia. Good to have you all on this morning to join this particular conversation. We're going to talk about the third type of commitment. First, we were talking about red light commitment, right? Red light commitment represents exclusivity. I am in an exclusive relationship with just you and just you alone till the day that I die, because it's a vow that I established between me, you, and God, and it's a vow that can only be broken by death. There you go. Then you have yellow light commitment. Yellow light commitment is conditional, right? So it means that I'm making a commitment to stay, but I'm not necessarily making a commitment not to stray. Okay. Then we have what is called green light commitment. All right. Green light commitment. What is that? Green light commitment is a false commitment that is self-centered. Okay. So it means that I am selfish. I am self-centered. I am centered on myself. What happens oftentimes in relationships, I begin to care less. I'm engaging in careless behavior, which is an indication that I care less about you. I care more about me. I'm not thinking about you. I'm thinking about me. I'm not thinking about the consequences in terms of how this may impact you. I'm thinking about what it's going to do to me. So as weird as this sounds, even though an affair destroys a marriage, unless I'm doing it out of anger or out of revenge when I cheat, I'm not doing it to destroy you. I'm not doing it to destroy this marriage. I'm doing it to please me. I remember hearing somebody once say, it's not like I woke up this morning and said, today is the day that I'm going to destroy my family. Nobody necessarily thinks like that. They're thinking less about the devastation. They're thinking less about the consequences that others will have to endure. And they're thinking about the pleasures and the joys that they get from that particular experience because of what they're longing for, because of what they're craving for, or because of what they're desperate for. And that becomes the rationalization to justify this bad behavior. So whether we're talking about yellow light commitment or green light commitment, it is devastating. But green light commitment says, I could care less about you. All I do is really care about me. And so many people engage in that. You know, love is a giving word. Love is what you do for others. Love is what you extend to others. But unfortunately, many people have a false definition of love. Many people are self-centered. I don't like to always use the word narcissistic, right? Because that takes on something completely different. And people use that term too casual, too cavalier, and don't really understand the depths of that and what we're really indicating when we say somebody's a narcissist. We all have narcissistic characteristics, true, but it's very far and few in between to find somebody who's actually a narcissistic personality disorder candidate, because they've been tested, all the proof and evidence is there. But there are a lot of people who lean into their flesh, they lean into their selfishness, and they justify their behaviors, which ultimately destroys their relationship. It is a false commitment. It is a false commitment. And true, you know, the fact of the matter is, it's not even a commitment to oneself, because before I can betray you, I first got to betray myself. What do I mean by that? How is it that a person of faith, a person of character, a person of integrity, a person who's proven him or herself to be a faithful and committed person, what would cause that person to throw away all values, all convictions, their belief system, their cultural norm, the traditions that they've been raised in? What would cause them to throw all of that away? Because oftentimes that's what we see. We see people who are moral leaders, spiritual leaders, upright people, upstanding individuals who do something that none of us would ever imagine. So in essence, yes, they betrayed you, but they first had to betray themselves. It's self-betrayal that leads to this type of betrayal. That's the beginning. That's the start. And so this is why it is so important that not only do you manage and master the relationship that you have with your spouse, which is what we will call a horizontal relationship, you've got to first really manage and master the internal relationship that you have with you. Because if I break my own promises, why would I honor a promise I made to you? If I make vows and declarations to myself that I don't even honor, why in the world would I honor a vow and a declaration to you? So if I'm no good to me, I can't be any good to you. And so this is why your personal growth and development, this is why the individual work that you do on the inside is paramount if we're going to have a successful relationship. We say this all the time. The key to your marital restoration is your personal transformation. And when you take a look on the inside of you and you begin to deal with your demons and you begin to deal with your faults and flaws and idiosyncrasies and inconsistencies and characteristics, all of those things that have caused you to live a wayward life, and you begin to go through a purging process, a cleansing process, a healing process, a spiritual transformation within, then you can come out on top, clean, healed, whole. And now you can offer to your spouse what you were never able to offer in the first place because you weren't in your rightful place. You weren't in your rightful mind. You weren't in good standings with your creator. And there were these things that you were holding on to that were causing self-sabotaging behaviors to occur. And so when you begin, and see, this is what makes people believers. It's not about what you say. It's not about your promises and declarations to never do it again. It's not about your grand sweeping gestures. It's not about the ring or the car that you buy. It's not about the vacation that you go on. Because you know what? Maybe if we just get away, let's just connect. Let's just remember why we fell in love in the first place. And maybe you'll forget about what happened. None of those things matter. It's about the permanent internal change that you make that will impact how you live life, how you show up, how you engage with your spouse, and what your level of commitment is. So once again, we're seeing how over the course of time in a relationship, how we can slip from red light commitment to green to yellow light commitment, which is conditional. And if things get worse, soulmate, roommate, cellmate, we get to a point where we care less about our spouse and we engage in careless behaviors. Did you get that? We care less. And so as a result of that, we engage in careless behaviors. And so now it's about me, myself, and I. It's no longer we, us, our. It's me, myself, and I. And we slip from yellow conditional red light commitment to green light commitment, which is self-centered and selfish and all about me. And so the reality is you can transition back to green light commitment, but it requires a process that you need to go through. And so this is where Couples Academy comes into play. This is why we want you tuning in. This is why we want you getting this daily word. This is why we want you calling the number at the bottom of the screen to set up a discovery call to see how we can help you. Because I just want to let you know, no matter what you're going through, no matter how devastating it may be, this does not have to be your permanent reality. All things are subject to change. You can get to a place of personal healing and relational restoration if you endure a process. But if you attempt to do it on your own, if you just rely on the one article you read, the book you read, the video you watched, the daily show, it is not enough. I'm telling you what I know. Everything that I've attempted to do on my own, maybe I was moderately successful. Maybe I was able to get a few steps further or beyond where I currently was. But it wasn't until I connected with a mentor. It wasn't until I connected with a practitioner. When I brought people into my life, it allowed me to quantum leap to another level of existence that I did not think was possible, and some levels of existence that I did not know even existed. See, what happens is when you connect with a wise individual who's guided other people through a process, there's a thinking, there's a methodology, there's a behavior, there's a pathway that you will be placed on that will get you to a destination that for a long time you desired, but you thought was impossible. And if that's you, reach out to us so that we can talk with you further. Listen, you've been watching the Couples Academy show. I hope you got something phenomenal out of today's message. We're going to come back tomorrow for a continuation. We're going deep, guys. I'm excited. I'm pumped up. I'm ready to go. And if you want more of this, tune in tomorrow. And until then, love you. Watch this video with your spouse, and let's see you tomorrow. Take care.